What up, y'all? Welcome back to Mini Drum Mondays. I am pumped about today. I finally figured out how to make the hi-hat stand. Let's see how it puts together. Check this out. Okay, let's start with the pedal that we actually use. So down here you can see that I have a normal kick drum pedal that I actually took off the hardware for the beater, and I actually made a couple adjustments. So what I did to start was I needed to get this straight piece of 12 gauge wire to actually hook on at a more centered location to where the cymbal will be. And so I'll explain that a little more in a second. So I drilled a couple holes there. I was able to get the wire through and pass that around. And so now when I press the pedal, it does a nice straight motion and pulls on the wire. Now obviously I'm going to have the kick drum right there next to it, kick drum pedals. That'll be coming in a later video. So this wire travels all the way up, and if I get a little bit closer, you'll be able to see that it's going to go all the way up right to where the top of the hi-hat stand is, and that's what the clutch actually attaches to. Now the next part I'm going to show you, this is a couple different pieces of things that I had to put together. Obviously this is just a test piece of acrylic. I didn't want to attach it to my actual stand until I knew that this process would work. So I have a long aluminum extruded pole, and it is hollow, and I put a couple different lock screws on there that would normally go on a drill, and that's to hold this piece of tubing in place. So now what I can do is I can just simply slide that over the top, and because I don't want this to go anywhere right now, I'm going to go ahead and clamp this down. On the actual system, it's not going to have a clamp. It'll be able to support itself perfectly fine because it'll be attached to the stand. So after this, there's a few pieces of hardware that I want to show you. So with a standard hi-hat clutch, you have a hollow tube that will go over the shaft, and it's got this lock that will screw onto the shaft and hold it tightly. There are two set screws that will hold the height of the cymbal where you want it, and these allow for it to not move in any direction. Then obviously you have some padding. The cymbal goes in between the two pieces of padding, and then you have one final bolt or nut to put on to hold the cymbals together. This system is a great system, and I wanted to mimic this as close as possible. So I found this. This is from a light fixture. It's got the threads on the outside just like the other regular cymbal clutch. It's got the hollow tubing, and I was able to modify it by making it a little bit smaller, but also by drilling and adding in threads to that. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I have added threads into that hole so that you'll be able to accept a screw to be able to lock in onto the shaft, just like that. This was the hardest part to figure out because I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to be able to thread something with such thin metal, but it actually worked out really well. So let's go ahead and install this. So I already have my set screws where I want them, and I already tightened them down with a bolt there. So I've got that. I'll go ahead and tighten this down on there. And I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to tighten that down. There we go. So once that's nice and tight, I can now add on my set screw, and I can place it on top of the cymbal stand. Okay, so here's the hi-hat stand, and essentially I have this little collar that goes on the bottom so that the cymbal does not go over the actual stand. So I can set that right there. Now I can put this one on top of that. Now I need to set the tension correctly, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put light pressure on the pedal, and then I'm going to screw down the lock screw. Once I give that some adequate pressure, I can then open and close the hi-hat. Really excited. All right, so there you have it, man. This was one of the hardest things I've put together so far for the drum set. Just with all the materials and trying to figure out how to actually build it, it was a really tough project. Not that expensive, only about 10 bucks, but just probably like 15 hours. I really spent a lot of time this week trying to problem solve and make it right. And I think it looks good, and I think it sounds good, and it operates really well. But that's it for today, man. I've got a lot of stuff coming. Speaking of which, this is the leftovers of the snares that I'm trying to do for the snare drum. That's coming hopefully next week. I've got the bass drum beaters to do. I have to paint everything still. I've got to make all the hardware. There's a lot left, so make sure you stay tuned. Hit that notification bell if you want to watch the rest of the videos that are coming up next. But until then, my name is Adam. Thanks for watching Crazy Little Man 771. I will see you on the next Mini Drum Monday. God bless you all. Thank you for watching.